let's get back to the main thing of the evening. Good evening to family and friends on this very special day. We would like to thank you all for coming to celebrate the marriage of Richard and Alex. Alex's dad, John, would have loved to have been here today to give his precious daughter away. It is an honour to be asked to be John's stand-in. This is take two, so hopefully all the mistakes from the ceremony last year have been ironed out. I mean, it was a disaster last year, but anyway, that's another story. Also, a question for everyone. Will they be refreshing their vows every year? Should we book this every year? I'm not sure. You've all got to agree with me that Alex absolutely looks beautiful today. And Richard has scrubbed up all right, I suppose. The setting is magnificent, I have to admit. And thankfully, the food's a lot better this year than it was last year. I'll tell you what. There's another story about my illness, but we'll come over that. As most of you know, Alex and Richard's eyes met while they were working at MIB. They were checking out an insurance claim when Richard's hands fumbled the claims form into Alex's hands. I don't know. From that moment, they went running together, training for a half marathon. This is where Richard finally caught Alex, and the rest is history. Keep the mic here, keep the mic here, don't keep moving it, sorry. Right, when Alex was young, she was known as the Princess, or Goldilocks, to her friends and family. I mean, her cousins will give you some further on that. Growing up, we thought Alex would be a jockey, as she loved My Little Pony. I have to admit, the way she went up the aisle today, she was galloping up that aisle. I thought I was going to have to put blinkers on her. I mean, she was unbelievable. Anyway, sorry, I've come away from the story. She's also gone into running, swimming, rowing, netball, but finally found a gym with a dishy personal trainer. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to put that in. And medicine balls which bounce out of control. Rich has got the video. If you want to see this video, it's... I'll let Rich show you the video. Her love for cats started at a young age, where she experimented with the cat. Would they bounce from the first floor window? Or would they survive in the microwave at low heat? But she's mothered and pampered them, dressing them up, even in Christmas outfits. I can't believe this. You dress your cats up.
He put it in a Christmas outfit the other night.
Well, I'm not saying no more. Alex's determination to party as much as possible while at university in Stoke. She still had time to get a law degree and a major in socialising, earning an award from the student bar. John, her father, said people thought Alex was strong-minded and had her own ideas, but he said to me, stubborn and not listening springs to mind. But Alex has grown into a lovely young woman. After leaving university and not getting the work she deserved, Alex took the job as a warden at Yarlswood. I don't know if you all know Yarlswood. It's where the immigration centre is. So she was nicknamed Commandant Trunchbull. With her jackboots and truncheon in hand, Alex would march around the corridors. We are not sure the vision of Alex in her uniform and jackboots was what appealed to Richard, especially the handcuffs. But Alex's determination to win came out at the family Christmas competition, where you had to design and make a Christmas decoration. There were 12, and I have to admit, they were brilliant entries. One of them was mine. But Alex's gingerbread house was fantastic. She must have spent hours on the most intricate features and perfect cake. Obviously, Alex beat everyone, including the children. Poor little kids, she beat the kids. But only to find out it was a kit you could purchase off Amazon. And Alex will never live this down if Matty in the corner will have his way. He Googled it several times to make sure she cheated.
I had to confess.
This is the following verse is from a poem which John, her father, wrote when Alex was 18. But enough of the jokes. I'm sure you know, folks, I'm tremendously proud of my girl. She's loyal and true, a friend through and through, a beauty, a star and a pearl. I think there's 8 bits of it, but I think was most apt. But John's still most famous words to Richard was, "She is your problem now, Rich." Before I go on to the toast, Joshua over here said that all you young ladies, he's ready for the first dance. So put your girls, get lined up because he's ready. He's ready. Right, could you all please stand and raise your glass to Richard and Alex and good. Wish them a brilliant future. Richard and Alex. Richard and Alex. Good health.
There's a few jokes that have been nicked. Anyway, thanks for the roasting, Jeff. Well, everyone, let me start off by saying thank you for being here today to celebrate our wedding. I know some of you have had a fair old trek to get here, so it means a lot. It's great to know many of you could be with us virtually at the ceremony last year, but better to see you all in person today because it's been a turbulent ride, to say the least, to get to this point. I started writing this speech in February 2020. As we know, things have changed a fair bit since then. Firstly, I'm not sure how many wedding anniversaries we have. My suit says the 29th of May. It's like stitched in the suit. 29th of May. Our marriage certificate says 18th of December. Plus our memories of today, the 17th. So take your pick, Alex. You can only have one. Secondly, a warning for the future to anyone who says how stressful arranging a wedding is within earshot of my wife. She will kill you. Try doing it during a global pandemic. It has been tough, hasn't it? So as I say, thank you for coming today. It really means a lot to us both that we can share our special day with you all, but I'd like to take a moment to ask you all to raise your glasses to those who unfortunately couldn't make it today, who are sadly no longer with us. Gone but not forgotten. Cheers. So, how we first met. It's slightly different to Jeff's story. So like many couples we met through work, like not so many couples we started running together and then began our quest of setting records for the most holidays. She loves a good holiday. On our trip to Iceland, Alex found an article on an internet forum about a secluded hot spring and decided that we should hire a jeep and hunt it down. The hot spring was literally in the middle of nowhere and we had to enter GPS coordinates into Google Maps to find it. There were no roads, just mud tracks. We eventually found it, unpacked our bottle of Prosecco. She never goes anywhere without Prosecco. And promptly jumped in. Just one of many happy memories I have so far, and I know there's loads more to come. I first met Alex's mum and dad and family at a barbecue at Alex's family home in Bedford. It was a baptism of fire, to say that. I've never been quite the same since. Only joking. You guys have been great. So, in my biased opinion, I always think Alex looks beautiful. But I must say today she is looking absolutely stunning in wedding dress number 2 of the range. Also, a day early, but happy first year anniversary for tomorrow. Are we expecting to have a wedding every year going forwards now? I suggest, and this comes back to your point, Jeff, I suggest you all ask Alex about the slam ball incident at the gym recently. There's CCTV footage you should see. But you can also ask me as well. In fact, we'll just share it around everyone.
Go on, face.
So not only is she gorgeous, she has other talents. She drinks and she knows things. A Game of Thrones reference. So here's to my wife and best friend, Alex. Big thank you also to the bridesmaids for looking after the diva. It can't have been easy. And thank you for letting me be at the first hen do. And the second one. Alex was on top form, falling into plant pots and a parasol on the decking in the back garden. So yeah, cheers to the bridesmaids. Well done. Also to the groom's party for attempting to organise a stag do. with COVID putting in blockers along the way. I understand it's not been easy, but hopefully we can have a few belated drinks in the new year. After all, nothing about this wedding has followed a traditional timeline. So yeah, to the groomsmen. Cheers, guys. And of course, a special thanks to Jackie for being there every step of the way, as always. I can't go on without mentioning John, Alex's dad. He was a massive part of Alex's life, and whilst I didn't always see eye to eye, debating, I think they called it. Debating, yeah. They had a very special bond. So as John once said to me in his words of wisdom, she's your problem now. I think that's been said a few times today.
Clearly I'm a problem.
So here's to John. Yeah. Going to run out of booze. So I'd just like to say thank you again. Have an amazing time. And I'll hand you over to my dad for the best man speech. As my best man, or best men, James and Nicky. Nicky couldn't be here because he's not very well. We're too scared to speak to you guys.
Thank you. It's a bit strange trying to give a speech, trying to imagine what the situation is going to be when you're writing a speech at 3 a.m. with a glass of whiskey in your hand. Wonder what it's going to be like, but here goes. Welcome everyone to Alex and Richard's wedding rerun. I and a small group were fortunate enough to have attended the celebration last year. Although we were a small group, it was a lovely occasion. Richard asked me if I would say a few words. Well, that's it really. I don't say very much at the best of times. I think a lot, but that's not very good when you're trying to give a speech. Although it helps with what you're trying to say. Should have asked Louise to say a few words. She's very good at saying a few words. Well, quite a lot rather. I must say I'm really proud of Richard, of what he's achieved, especially what he's been through. Some really tough times. At one point he didn't have anything. Nowhere to live, no money, no job. I say he didn't have anything, but that's not quite true. He had his family and his friends. James, Nicky and Dan, especially James, who's known since school days, who stood by Richard, especially the bad times, an absolute rock. Talking about family, Richard is part Welsh from his mother's side and part Scottish from my side. Richard never knew his granddads. His mother's father, Sane, died just 2 weeks before Richard was born. Sane was so much looking forward to seeing his grandson. Sane and Jo, his grandmother, were the most lovely, kind, generous, good-hearted people you could wish to have as grandparents. We miss them very much. He did know his other grandmother, my mother, Grandma Jean. In fact, Richard rang Louise when Louise was still in school and said, "Do you want to go and see Grandma?" So they did. Off they went. Louise bunked off school. Of course, Grandma was glad to see them, and as soon as they were through the front door, asked, "What do you want to drink then?" Grandma Jean liked to drink. And to tell stories about her extraordinary life, about the times she went to work, went horse racing, about the war, and when she was in the fire brigade during the bombing in Coventry, and her Scottish mother, who was called Janet McRae Hyatt, who was of the clan McRae, and her times in Scotland, and when she moved down to Coventry, and she kept a shop, and chickens and ducks and bees, and a horse, and could cure animals. She knew the old-fashioned medicine, stuff that's forgotten now. Everybody all around knew her. I would go off on my bike, off for a long ride, and stop at a shop miles away from home, and the shopkeeper would ask, "Where are you from then?" And I would say, "Corley Moor." And they'd say, "Do you know Janet Hyatt?" Everybody knew her. Then, of course, there's Eleanor. Richard and Eleanor were very close. Are very close. We still think she's with us, still feel her presence, especially the quiet times. They grew up together, but 13 years is not very long. We love Eleanor. Richard does give me some credit. Well, I think that's what he said. Something about his drive and determination he got from me and from the Royal Marines. Richard did Royal Marines training down at Limpstone in Devon when he was 17, 18. He says that the Marines taught him self-belief, self-worth, personal determination, making you feel good about yourself, that you can achieve anything when you put your mind to it. He also got some of that from the long-distance walks we did together. We did the West Highland Way when he was 11. 11. That's 100 miles from Glasgow to Fort William and carrying your own rucksack. We stayed in B&Bs and hotels, not camping, and it was a job to get him into the bath at night. It said he'd had one yesterday. But I'd say you'd walk 14 miles today. You need a bath. Then once he was in, you couldn't get him out. I also did the West Highland Way with Eleanor when she was 12. And Richard and I did it with Louise when she was 12. Richard and I also did the coast to coast. That's 200 miles from St. Bees on the west coast in Cumbria to Robin Hood's Bay on the east coast in North Yorkshire when Richard was 15. That was just after Eleanor died, and she should have been with us on the walk. I've also done a bit of motorcycling with Richard, along with Chris, who I've known since I was at school. That's a couple of years ago. Done a few trips to Germany, gone round the Nürburgring, got drunk a few times. So I've spoken more than I usually do, so that's me for the rest of the day. I'd just like to wish every joy and happiness to Alex and Richard. Alex and Richard.
Thank you.